Jankum Pog doesn't like to be called short. Murph can sing or lip sync, who knows? And Gwyn wants to pop this blow stand. Hey, everybody, and welcome to the Seventh Rule with Cirroc, Lofton, and Bonnie Gordon.
Hi, that's me again.
Hello.
Cirroc, did you just make the pop stand sound effect?
Yeah.
Yeah. My name is Ryan T. Husk. Today we're doing a review of Star Trek Prodigy Season 1, Episode 17, Ghost in the Machine, directed by Andrew L. Schmidt and written by Chad Quant.
Woo,
hello,
Chad.
hello. Let's talk about this awesome, fun episode.
Oh, man. Who doesn't love a good holodeck episode? Come on. I feel like the holodeck episodes are always some of my favorites. I like with Next Gen. And
you should make a song called Home for the Holodecks.
Oh.
See?
Quickly writes down all these ideas. That's great. That's a great title for a Christmas episode of any Star Trek show. Home for the Holodecks. Come on. Okay. Well,
I once gave somebody a really, really good holodeck related nickname, and I never got credited with it, and I'm still bitter. Anyway.
Oh, well, you got to tell us the story now. You can't just do it like that.
Well, no, because that would be calling that person out. So,
let's take them down.
As soon as we hit stop record, I will.
Okay. Uh-oh. I won't tweet about it.
Anyway, this episode was a ton of fun. I'm wearing a 10 Forward sweater, but I'm thinking about Prodigy.
You're allowed. You're allowed to stay warm. No. But no, I honestly, again, this is one that I knew little about going in. I did have a few lines as the computer on this episode.
I heard them, yeah.
Yeah, I know. I was like, woohoo, I'm in it. But now that I don't get the full scripts, all of these are just little fun surprises for me. And I just enjoyed this episode so much. How cute were those little creatures that Rock Talk plays like in the veterinary school holodeck? Like that's something. It's like basically what we used to have.
One was
on those
called a
keychains.
Sparkle Sea Hugger. The big one was a Sparkle Sea Hugger.
But you know how those little like Digimon or whatever, like the little things where we had like the little pets on a keychain. That's what it kind of reminded me of. I was like, oh, you have to feed your pet and take it to the vet. And, like it reminds me of that. It's like you forget that Rock Talk is just a little kid wanting to play, veterinarian or wanting to play doctor. And it's so freaking cute. And she just wants to cuddle things. Oh, I love how you got to see bits of their personality, which each holodeck program, because we got to see little bits of like kind of like their inside joy, like Zero loves solving mysteries, and how they had the whole like Scooby game mystery holodeck, and then Jankum Pog just wants to fight in the streets. It's just really cool that you got to see little tidbits of what they're secretly interested in.
Yeah, and I like mysteries. I like the kind of like you have to solve it. People go into these panic rooms. My daughter is into these panic rooms, or not
escape rooms.
Escape
rooms. I was
like,
what are you talking about? Panic rooms. I love escape rooms. Okay,
I want to go in a panic room. Wait a second.
Well, you'll panic in an escape room.
I'm down with that.
Rock, you don't understand. I love escape rooms so much. I sometimes do them by myself.
In your own bedroom.
How
my daughter
I can escape that pretty easily.
Stuff. She's into escape rooms.
I love escape rooms. I'm really good at them. Like anyone who needs an escape room partner, call me, because I will escape so hard out of that room.
Yeah, and
puzzles
to me,
galore.
That's what this episode felt like. It felt like when you're in an escape room, because I haven't been in one with her. Actually, I'm a little. I don't know why I have a kind of hesitancy to go into one.
We're doing a Seventh Rule escape room together, and y'all are gonna like it. After the holidays, you, me, and Ryan Husk are going to do an escape room.
I want to do a conversation escape.
And I am taking control because you have no choice, because I don't know how to not be in charge. So get ready. We're escaping so fast.
Yeah, so my daughter explains how these escape rooms go, and you have to look for clues, and you have to figure out what goes where and how to get to that side of the room, or whatever the escape room gives you as a challenge. But I think that's what this episode reminded me of. One of those kind of escape rooms also reminded me of the game that we used to play when I was a kid called Clue, which was like a murder mystery game, right?
What's that?
Kinda,
yeah.
You
It's
had
very
to find
Clue-esque.
it's Clue-esque. And so I enjoyed those aspects of it. I said, oh well, this is like one of those Clue games. I really enjoyed the missing key. You had to find the missing key, and then the piano had a missing key.
Yeah, that was so great.
That was really clever.
That was my favorite holodeck program too, the black and white speakeasy like jazz club. I was like, oh my gosh. I think it's already been tweeted out that I should be singing a duet with Murph, and I agree. In fact, I'll be tweeting about that later to the Hageman brothers, going like, excuse me, sirs, I believe it is time for the computer to
doll
out a fedora.
What's funny about that scene is it reminded me of Deep Space Nine's Vic
Fontaine. Yes.
Vic Fontaine.
Yes.
Right.
I put that in my notes as well. There was shades of not just the bar, but just the whole feel, the whole atmosphere. And I really hope that Ira Steven Bear watches this episode of Prodigy. I don't know how much new Star Trek he watches, but if he decides to watch one episode, I hope it's this one. I think he'd enjoy it.
Absolutely.
And I would have loved to see James Darren actually in this particular episode. It would have
so cool.
It would have been the greatest little nugget to throw in a quick line where James Darren says, Hey kid, that's my song.
Hey, Pally.
Hey, Murph.
Hey, Murphy, you're taking my gig. I love it was like Murph was just like, I love Zero's line of when they said, or he's just really good at lip syncing, Yeah. It's like,
was
Murph.
that who's the gentleman that plays Murph? I forgot his name.
D. Bradley Baker.
Right.
I don't know if
was that his voice.
Singing. I need to go back and watch the credits.
That's the question I had too. I was wondering.
Was it in the credits, or did they just get like a song and get the rights? So can we look back? Can we fix this in post and like?
Isn't he already credited as Murph? So it wouldn't have been any different.
Well, it would be singing Murph, singing voice.
Oh yeah, it probably would say singing Murph or voice of Murph singing. Probably, I'm not sure. But that was a question I had too, was that the voice of the actor who is doing the voice of Murph. And I was also thinking, so now that actor is going to get a chance to actually have lines as opposed to just sound effects. So
instead of
yeah,
like and like farting, yeah. In his defense, D. Bradley Baker is a great farter and burper, like the gassiest actor, the gassiest voice actor I know, just like knocking him out of the park.
Yeah, I'm sure that's the first thing on his resume.
You never know. Prodigy's pretty hot, man. It would be the first thing on my resume if I was working on Prodigy. I'll tell you that much.
Professional burper.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
indestructible.
Prodigy might be, but not farter and burper.
That just reminds me of something about Mary when he goes, "Is that what you're looking for, Maddie? A farter?" I don't know why. But...
Yep.
I like the moment there. Once again, I think this show does a great job of dealing with emotions that children feel and deal with in their lives growing up. Mm-hmm. And one of the big things I think they address is in Dal's case, Dal is dealing with this feeling like he is inferior because he feels like this kind of a test tube kind of experimental baby.
Yeah,
mm-hmm. Like a failure, like he's not,
right.
Failed experiment.
He's a failed experiment, and him dealing with that emotionally, they don't just make it a one episode thing. They don't just kind of throw it away or touch on it and brush it off. This is a constant thing that he's been dealing with, mm-hmm. and it's one of those reoccurring things where he's trying to find a way to build his self-confidence, to get over the fact that he feels this particular way about his genetic makeup. So I think they're doing a great job, as a friendship, as a group of friends trying to uplift each other. I thought Jensen Pog was like, hey, like 2 scoops of sadness.
That was so
Yeah.
cool, wasn't it? That he's like the Neelix morale officer now.
Yeah, scoop it on, yeah, or something like that. It was like,
Yeah.
it was really cute.
Pile it on,
Oh yeah, pile it on. Yeah, like, oh, you're depressed, more ice cream. That'll fix everything.
Right.
Honestly,
Kinda
it
does.
does. It kind of
It does.
It
Cookie
does.
dough.
Take it
am I
from
right?
take it from a woman who goes through menstrual cycles. Ice cream is the cure for all, man.
But I think it's a good way for these kids, for them to address these kids, like what their issues are. You know, it's not a perfect thing, and that's one thing that I like about it is these characters are flawed, and
Absolutely.
And to have flaws is a human characteristic. It's something that we all deal with in our lives, our own flaws, and I like the way that they are addressing that in this show. And now we're even seeing, I wrote down evil Janeway, but we're even seeing that this hologram Janeway has a quote unquote character flaw or a programmed character flaw. And so I said, oh, wow, this is cool too. Even the Janeway hologram is giving us, there's more dynamic background to who this person is and what their character's purpose is. So there's so many things at play in this episode. It's very well written. I will say that I had my dad over today while I was reviewing this episode and preparing for the show. And he started to watch the cartoon, with me. And I found him just as, he's just picking up. He never, this is episode 17. He's never seen any of this before. He's watching it all for the first time, but I could see how he was drawn into the story, drawn into the animation. The characters are so good that even him, who just sitting down in the middle of watching, episode 17, I found his attention completely locked and focused in on this episode.
Really?
And I said, awesome. Wow, this show is captivating. Here is my dad, who's 70 now, and he's watching this animated show and getting stuff from it the same way as I am.
Having no idea who the characters are or anything.
Yeah, he doesn't know anything about anything. But I said, hey, what do you think about the show? He's like, it's a pretty good show. I don't know what's going on and who's who, but it's interesting and it's captivating. And I think that's one thing that these writers are doing a great job, is giving you a good story, whether you know everything about Star Trek or not, whether you even like Star Trek or not. You can still watch this show and get a whole lot of good stuff out of it.
Absolutely. And everyone loves a good holodeck episode. And I think we're all excited whenever this episode was announced, like a holodeck episode. I could see like Twitter blowing up going, oh my gosh, so excited. And who knew what they were, what was going to happen with a holodeck with these kids.
I half expected like Moriarty or somebody to pop up from like Next Generation or something, because we're all like trying to figure it out. Do have a very quick update about Murph's singing. So I just asked our good buddy, Mr. Aaron J. Waltke, who is a writer and co-producer and really knows everything about everything Star Trek and outside of Star Trek. Asked him if that was Murph, if that was Dee Bradley's voice and Murph singing. He said it was written and performed by Troy Klein, an actor, musician and producer, a performer. He also gives us a link to the full version that anybody can listen to. So we'll drop that down in the description box of this video if you'd like to hear the full song by Troy Klein. The song is called Smile and Forget It. So check that out. We'll drop that in. And he does say, like Cirroc was saying, he says it was definitely intended as an homage to Vic Fontaine.
Yes.
Love it.
Absolutely.
Love these Prodigy guys. Thank you so much, Aaron Waltke. You're always hooking us up, the Star Trek fans, with great stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And and another subtle touch just in that Vic scene, the black and white. Here is a color show. They just said, let's just make it black and white. Let's just do it and throw it in there.
Yeah,
and I thought that was cool. I just small touch, but
kids don't see that. Kids don't see, they're not watching old black and white, thing. It kind of gives it this introduces a younger generation to that kind of style, and also is just a nice little Easter egg for people who A, watched things in that era, and B, knows Star Trek and knows that, like every holodeck, every series had something similar in that, where, Jean-Luc had like the old detective
Dixon Hill.
Yeah,
Watch
Dixon
your
Hill.
caboose, Dix.
And then of course Captain Proton with Voyager,
Yeah.
with Ensign Kim and Tom Paris, and of course Janeway playing the. Yes, so those episodes are so good. But like it kind of gives an Easter egg for all the real Trekkies out there, but also kind of introduces kids to that, film noir 40s stylization, and I love that they really stayed true to it and gave it that old like mob boss. Also, I loved the scene and interaction, even though it was so small, between Gwen Dalla and her father playing the bartender. Like, how cool was that? It was almost like therapy for her.
Freud would have a lot to say about this.
Yeah.
I thought it was like, because at first my first thought is, oh, is this the diviner doing this whole holodeck situation? Is he just pretending to be part of this holodeck program to be like, oh, really? Tell me more, But then I'm like, how could he get there? This isn't there's no way. And then it's just a holodeck program, and it's so psychologically interesting, that she's talking to her dad in a way about her dad. It was really cool. I love that.
Yeah. Love it. And that's like what bartenders do. They just like, tell me your troubles, kid. Let me pour you a pint. Like it's kind of like the whole bartender thing. And bartenders basically is like the ongoing joke that bartenders are therapists.
Totally.
And here she is
just
having a therapy session about her father, with her father as the interface of the bartender. I don't know. I thought that was just a really nice, such a small moment within the episode, but because Gwen Dalla, I keep saying Gwen Dalla, just because Gwen doesn't use the holodeck for recreational purposes, I'm glad that they put a little something in there for her that referenced her, gave her a moment.
Gave her backstory, yeah. Another thing that I thought was just clever, small things, but when they are initially trying to, because we think when this show opens that they're actually in live action, so that you don't know that right away they're in the holodeck simulation. But when the show opens and they're in live action and they're basically face to face with the real Janeway and everybody on the crew of the Starfleet crew,
Dauntless.
There's a moment there where Dow tells Jankum to, use Morse code and fire the photons in a Morse code so that they can tell them, hey, we can't actually contact you because we have this, weapon on the ship. Smart. I thought that was so clever of just the ideas for these kids to be thinking, hey, what ways can we get the message out there to the Starfleet that we can't communicate with them, we can't link with them, and I thought, Morse code and some kind of alternative way of trying to communicate. And I thought, well, that is a very clever thing for the writers to come up with for these kids to do.
It's problem solving. These kids are problem solvers. And that's what Starfleet teaches is like, yeah, sure, advance your technology so that you can blow up the other guy. But a lot of this is just problem solving. It's like figuring out, how do you communicate with this person? How do you avoid the battle? How do you get to this person? How do you get out of this escape room? Whatever it is. And that's great for kids right now that are watching this show to learn these kinds of things of like, they present these things that maybe a 9-year-old doesn't know what Morse code is, but they're going to turn around and they're going to ask their parent or they're going to ask their teacher or their older sibling, and they're going to say, what the heck is Morse code? And they're going to learn something. And, I just really love that this show plants a seed. They don't always, try to teach an entire lesson, but they plant the seed to make the viewer curious and to ask the questions.
And now they're all locked out of the consoles and are now face to face with Starfleet.
Cliffhanger.
Hologram Janeway, effed everything up without not knowing it.
Clever thing they introduced, because hologram Janeway, while they were captured in the simulation, says, give me your code so I can fix things. And it's such a nice nefarious way to get the information that you need out of somebody, right? And it's I thought, like, well, when that's another. Yeah,
I got an email from somebody that said that they were going to give me a bunch of money, but they just needed my bank account information,
right?
And to do it. And so I was like,
Nigerian
And so I just
prince keeps writing me.
What a sweetie,
what is up with
right?
That?
Oh, you too.
Yeah.
But it was that kind of
money.
It was that kind of thing where she's like, give me your code so I can help you. But it ended up being the old twisteroo on them.
Yes, I like that a lot. The other thing I thought was really just timing wise for me kind of interesting was I had just recently watched this YouTube video on Are We Living in a Simulation? And it's a really cool YouTube video out there if you guys ever want to check it out. It's presented by a guy or a YouTube channel that calls itself the Y Files, YWHY.
I'm gonna look that up. Sorry, I was doing my help. I'm trapped in a simulation face.
Yeah, yeah. So this Y Files YouTube video really went into detail about are we living in a simulation, and goes through a scientific method of proving that we are living in a simulation.
That is terrifying. Nope. Abort mission. Abort.
Yeah. So I mean, it's very interesting. But I thought I just watched that literally yesterday, and then today I'm watching the Prodigy episode, and they're in a simulation. And it makes me think,
oh no, Ryan, blink twice if you're trapped in the Matrix. Blink twice.
So I just thought it's very clever that they're talking about these kinds of concepts that are actually real concepts that are, I know we call it the holodeck episode, but it's actually a simulation. And much like our own existence is proposed to be a simulation. And there are certain ways of problem solving in order to determine that you're in a simulation, and also to manipulate the simulation.
I mean, honestly, in life, aren't we all just looking for our own skeleton key? I mean, symbolically, aren't we all just missing a skeleton key inside of us all and searching for that missing link of I'm trying to be philosophical.
I think it works.
Yeah. Are we all just missing a little bit of a key inside and searching for searching for the key master while we're the gatekeeper?
Excellent Ghostbusters knowledge right there. Thanks. Most quotable movie ever, I submit.
There is no Bonnie, only Zool. But no, I honestly, I think the only thing I'm sad about is that there's only 3 episodes left of season 1, and then we got to wait till season 2. And I'm so excited for season 2, y'all, because again, we just recently wrapped the recording of voice acting for it. And
so it'll be a while.
What's to come is so exciting. But honestly, I'm enjoying so much of going back and seeing all the work that's been put into these episodes that are now coming out now. Unbelievable stuff. I loved this episode so much because being a fan of escape rooms and mysteries. I love mysteries. I love, little Scooby Gang type.
That's
what they were. They were basically like the Scooby Gang.
Murph is Scooby Doo.
Exactly. Well, I think Murph's more of a Scrappy, but not as annoying as Scrappy Doo.
But Scrappy talked, didn't he? More than Scooby.
Power. Yeah. Little puppy. Actually, you know what? We'll make him Scooby, and he eats all the snacks. That means Murph does eat all the snacks.
Wow, Cirroc, that was very good.
Ruh-roh.
Yeah, I've watched plenty of Scooby. I used to love me some Scooby Dooby Doo.
Yeah. So this here episode, I'll tell you what I liked about it is that it gave us more backstory on these characters, but in a much more subtle way. The previous episode gave us, like, flatly said, here's my backstory. But this episode gave us insight into these characters without making it terribly obvious, because it's almost like visiting their dreams. We're getting a little sneak peek or a little insight into their private lives or their their hopes or their dreams or their wishes, or in Jackson-Bey's case, how weird his head is, you know. And those, what was up with those Tellarites everywhere? I was like, are those Tellarites just infesting the whole program now?
Well, that was the thing, is all of their
they're bleeding into each other, right?
Became merged. So his Tellurite program, the Tellurites started, you know, being in all of the holodeck stuff, just like Rok-Tahk's creatures were infesting all of the different ones. Just like, you know, the skeleton key was a part of every single holodeck. So it's like all of their holodeck all of their holodeck programs were merging, and so the Tellurites were playing all the characters, the creatures were playing the characters. Also, why on earth would they want to make different models for all these different types of aliens when they can just reuse the Tellurites? Speaking from an animation budget standpoint, it would make sense.
From a fan's point of view, I love Tellurites, and I think they don't get nearly enough love. I think out of the founding members of the Federation, they get by far the least, and I love that they're getting way more representation. And by the way, that reminds me, I had a couple big laughs in this episode. One was when Jackson-Bey said, "Ooh, I found a clue. This is dumb. Let's get out of here."
Fart joke.
I was like, I may or may not have played that 5 times.
I don't know why I laughed. I don't know why I laughed so hard on that.
It was the delivery.
It's a fart joke. It's a fart joke, but it was the setup, because he was like, "Oh yeah, I found a clue. Let's get the hell out of here. This thing sucks."
Now, the other line that was a little bit more subtle that really made me laugh loudly, and I played it a couple more times, was when a Tellurite, when they're on the pirate ship, and they said, "We're looking for a skeleton key," and he says, "I shall go overboard to look," and he just
just jumps overboard. That was
great
really funny.
delivery. It was well written, great delivery. I was very happy with that one.
I also loved when Rok-Tahk's I also love when Rok-Tahk's holding on to the ship when they're seeking, and she's like in her mind going like, you know, rainbows, unicorns, cute little creatures to cuddle. Like she's in her own head, like thinking her happy thoughts. It made me giggle because it was just so cute. You know, you keep forgetting Rok-Tahk's like 8 years old, you know, with the mind of a genius, obviously. But
I liked when Jankum brought up the other Tellurite from the Federation that kind of called him short.
Yeah.
And he brought that back up again. He was like, Jankum short? You know?
Yeah.
Nobody calls Jankum short.
Nobody does.
So like and then he goes on, you know, just the fact that he still hasn't forgotten that, like, right? That's still in his head right there. And I think he mentioned that he wants to slap him verbally or something. I think, isn't that what he said?
And then Gwen says, "I want to slap my father with my hand." Something like that. Yeah.
I played that back too. I was like, did I just hear that right?
Yeah, Gwen doesn't mess around.
Feisty.
They're slapping people over here.
Yeah, she's like, whoosh. I also love when Rok-Tahk with the creature is like, you know, "This creature is malnourished. I subscribe fruits and fiber," and shoots the snacks into the
adorable.
I know. Sorry. The writing is just so quick and funny and just fun. You know, they find moments to really let the character shine with really smart one-liners and cute lines, and but while still like getting the story across. I just feel like kudos to the whole writing room, you know, for just nailing it out of the park every single episode. I feel like every episode that we've discussed has just been like, we love this. Like there's really not a lot of criticism that I can give Prodigy, and not just because I'm biased, because I'm a part of it, but like really just watching it as a fan, I'm like, this show is just so, I just smile.
It is. It's a solid show, and there are a lot of Star Trek fans that are coming on the bus late. You know, they're like, "Oh, I'm not going to watch a kid's show or an anime or whatever." And, you know, I'm running that Facebook group that, you know, is like a fan group for Lower Decks and for Prodigy and for all these others. And in the Prodigy one, everybody keeps coming in every week saying, "Hey, I'm late to the party. Who knew this show was so good?" They all say the
and then
same
everyone's
thing,
like raising hands. Exactly.
They're like, everybody's just, once they watch it, they're like, "Whoa, wait a second. Did you guys know about this show?" And we're like, "Yeah, dude, it's been like a year."
And I've been doing like a lot of cons, you know, I do a lot of the con circuit, and a lot of people come up to me and like, "Oh, you know, I watched like 1 or 2 episodes, but it just didn't really, you know, sit with me." And I was like, well,
keep watching.
I told them, I was like, honestly, I always tell people, get to episode 6. Give yourself until episode 6. I feel like episode 3 and 4 really like start feeling Star Trek. Episode 5, you start getting that real, like the stakes are getting higher, and also you see a little bit of the darker side of what they're writing. And then episode 6 with that Kobayashi Maru, where you're just like, oh, this is a love letter. And then you get to episode 7 with the Time Amok, where I mean, it just gets better and better every episode. So I feel like once you get to episode 5 and 6, you're hooked, and there's no going back.
Except for episode 8.
It takes a while to get into the Star Trek groove. Yeah. So right away, it feels like an animated show that's not Star Trek from the beginning. In the first couple episodes, it feels like, who are these kids? What's going on?
More like an action sci-fi show, because there is no Star Trek involved. You know, they mentioned Starfleet in passing maybe once or twice. You know, with, we can't let them know about Starfleet.
If you're gonna give it a real shot, you have to give it up until Starfleet becomes relevant in the show, and that would be around the first 6 episodes. But then from there, it just goes astronomically up, and these writers are like, I don't know. That's not a kid show. I can't. Calling it a cartoon or
it's a family show.
Family show.
It's a
family show.
It's a Star Trek show. It is good Star Trek. I've had a few people like at cons earlier in the year, you know, like, oh, I'll give it a chance, yada yada. And then, you know, I just did Starbase Indy, and a few of the people that came to that con
with Aaron.
were at, it was so much fun. And a few of the folks who came to that con, were also at previous cons that I was a guest at, and they came back going, oh my gosh, you were right. Oh, I can't believe I didn't watch this when it was coming out, you know. And then, you know, they were coming to all the panels and stuff. So it was just really cool to see people fall in love with it, you know, throughout the year.
I also love Zero kind of giving us an insight to Zero's fantasy or playground. And the introduction when Zero says, the puzzling of puzzles, the amateur sleuthing, and like goes through that whole like thing. I really enjoyed it. It reminded me of like the carnival when you go and the MC is like, step right up, the puzzling of puzzles, you know. So
Zero has this old soul feel to me, you know, like you walk into his holodeck their holodeck episode, and it's like the old study with the books and the mysteries, and it's like, okay, Zero's that. They're an old soul. They love that nostalgic old feel. Like I feel like Zero could be sitting in
like Transylvania castle.
I could smell the dust when they walked into that library.
Zero's just chilling in an old leather chair waiting for a mystery to come through the letterbox or a pipe
with a monocle on, you know.
On their one little
a monocle on top of the monocle.
So I did want to point out, I don't know if you guys caught this, but there was another Deep Space Nine reference in this episode. And it was what Gwen, aka Gwendala, ordered as a beverage. She asked for Jumja tea.
That's right. That's right.
Like the Jumja sticks from the promenade.
I've had plenty of Jumja sticks.
And based on how you've described them, Cirroc, I'm not sure that would be very tasty.
I would prefer it in tea form. Let's put it that way. At least it's a liquid and it's a lot easier to drink. But the Jumja stick is gummy and like gelatiny. So I prefer the tea
with no flavor, right?
With no flavor. So
it has great antioxidant properties. That's why you drink it as a tea.
Yeah, obviously. And Gwen, I don't think she's interested in things for the taste. I think she would like look at she'd be like, how will this affect me? Like I need more nutrients. Yeah, I think she's more into the.
And did Murph turn into the mom from Incredible when Murph was fighting the Tellarites? Because I saw
he's got some skill stretching.
Now. I saw Murph's arm stretching. Like, it's like the Murph toy's got to be really cool.
He slices, he dices. We need Murph slime, right?
Yeah,
Murph slime.
Yeah,
or like a Murph stress ball. I feel would be like a.
Yeah,
of course, eyes bug out when you squeeze them.
Yeah, more Murphandise, Murphandizing, Murphandise.
Oh wow, very nice.
But honestly, I I adore this episode. And so here's something to think about though. They're now face to face with the Dauntless, the with the real Admiral Janeway's ship. Last episode, Admiral Janeway got knocked out. Who's going to be captaining that ship and talking to them or trying to, who's making the calls now? Because now they're going to be like, Janeway, we have them. And where is Janeway? Passed out on the couch? Like, what's going to happen?
It's Commander Titus.
That's something to think about. Yeah.
Commander Titus can be like, hey guys, what's up? We finally found you. We don't know what the heck's going on back here. And we don't know what the heck's going on over there, but we're trying to figure it out.
Yeah. I would say try the Morse code again. That was a great idea. Maybe flash the headlights. Isn't there headlights?
Well,
this is the only time flashing is appropriate in a kid's show.
You know how you write on a dirty car, "Wash me"?
Yeah, exactly.
Send Murph
weapon
outside.
On board or help. Yeah. Please stay. Get a restraining order. Please stay 600 feet away from said ship, please. Yep. Yeah.
Maybe they could launch Murph out at him.
It's a clever show
because Murph. Does Murph need to breathe in space? I feel like he can just go, right?
He's indestructible. If they put a message in Murph and shot him out through the airlock and
write the message on his stomach and then just shoot him out to the window.
Wrap it in a thing, have him swallow it.
Shoot
him out, have him burp it out.
They don't have control of the ship again. That's right. So they need Rock Talk to launch, to just toss him.
Oh my God.
You'll have to toss me. That's a Lord of the Rings quote.
Okay. All right.
Sorry about the Lord of the Rings.
No, I got it.
It was a good
Trust
one.
me, I got you. Look, Bonnie Baggins got you.
Backdrop with the Lord of the Rings quote on a Star Trek podcast, ladies and gentlemen. This is the first time it's ever been done.
Yep.
Let him put his feet in
all the time, everybody.
All the time.
He's got his hands in so many buckets, he's out of hands.
Including Odo's.
No.
Oh.
That's
But it is true. We do have a cliffhanger. And I have no idea
that's what I like about this show. That's what I like about this show, that you don't know what's going to happen. Mm-hmm. You have a sense that it's going to end well and that things are going to end well and things are going to be positive, but you don't know how they're going to get to that destination, how they're going to get to that place. And that's what I think is really good about it. They're keeping the story, the anticipation of what's going to happen alive, because it's just not predictable. So when I go into these episodes, there's nothing. I don't know what to expect.
All my guesses were wrong again today. When I'm watching, I try to go, oh, they're probably going to do this. They're probably nope. Every time I'm wrong.
Right. You don't see the Romulans anymore. I was expecting to see some Romulans in this episode. I didn't see any. I
love that they were still in the holodeck. I thought maybe when they said when they figured out the hologram, something was wrong with the holograms. The whole ship has hologram technology because Janeway can go anywhere in the ship. So I'm thinking that's why I thought the whole ship was going to be infested with holograms, but no, they were still in the holodeck. So that was a twist for me that I loved.
Mm-hmm.
I did too. I think that it's just clever. The show's very well written. It's clever. It's entertaining. It moves at a very fast pace. And by the time it's over, I always say to myself, wow, it's over.
Yeah.
That hit me towards the end of this episode when they're just going along. They're stuck in the holodeck. They're trying to figure stuff out. And I'm like, there's only 4 minutes left in this episode. How are they gonna button it all up? How are they gonna?
Right.
What's going on? There's 4 minutes left, and we're in the middle of a holodeck episode. But they got to do it quick, and they knock it out of the park every time. There's also kind of a little bit of an homage to previous holodeck episodes, where they were stuck in the holodeck, because that's happened a few times before. It's happened on Deep Space Nine, where the safety protocols are turned off, just like in this one, or when, with Picard and Moriarty in Next Generation.
They're Captain Proton, right? When Janeway had to go in and play the villain. I loved that. It was a great
homage. So now when the Protostar crew, when they make it finally to the Federation, they're gonna be like, oh my God, you guys, you'll never believe what happened to me. We were in the holodeck, and everybody goes, "Yeah, he's stuck in the holodeck."
We got stuck in the holodeck. Honestly,
now you're one of us officially.
For the
Safety
amount
protocols, we know.
Yeah.
the amount of like holodeck problems that happen, you think like people would be more wary of what kind of programs they were doing. Like think about all the like holodeck accidents and like the safety protocols being,
Fistful of datas.
Yeah. Oh, I love that.
Wouldn't there be like wouldn't you eventually install like one of those like levers that you pull when there's a fire?
Emergency lever.
Yeah.
Emergency lever. Pull the
doorknob.
lever.
A doorknob so you can just go out of the holodeck.
Yeah, exactly.
Like a magic doorknob that stays in one place no matter where you go in the holodeck. Like,
or you
know
click
what?
your heels 3 times.
Screw the arch.
Exactly.
The computer's obviously gonna have something against us. We needed the emergency button. Yeah.
Yeah, like a release hatch or something, like what you got on an airplane or something. I think it's got to be something like that put in there.
Fireman's pole.
How many?
Right?
Slide on down to the captain's chair. That'd be funny.
Oh my gosh.
We also very quickly had a nice introduction to a glitter smooch. I think you mentioned that a little bit earlier. These names that Rock Talk creates: a glitter smooch. There was like a sparkle sea hugger. By the way, Bonnie, I noticed again. I know you keep mentioning this, but it's really validating. I definitely see this or hear this. That Riley kid is so freaking good for a 8-year-old or 9-year-old or 10-year-old.
Now
whatever
I think she's like 11 now. But here's the thing: like when she first
unbelievable
got cast,
talent.
Listening to her do like just in the pilot when I got when I was hearing like the scratch and everything, she was cast from the beginning, and her delivery of every line is just so on point because it's also not what you expect. She kind of says her lines kind of differently and out of the box, and like has this innocence and such a, not even like an intelligence, but it's such a fun twist to Rock Talk, and the way she says her lines always surprises me, and I freaking love that kid. Honestly, I've met her a few times in person, and she probably thinks I'm like some crazy lady,
a crazy aunt. Because you're like, hello,
okay, Bonnie.
let me
like,
squeeze your cheeks. Oh my god.
Yeah. But I honestly think that kid can do no wrong, and I'm so glad she got cast in this. I think she has such a huge career ahead of her, and I think also like her line delivery is so spot on and so fun. I mean, I hear stories of her in the booth where they say like they were expecting to go one way and then she delivers a line and it's complete opposite of what they were expecting, but it works. Great. and it's funny and
the line
quick and
the line she said this time that really grabbed my attention in that way was when she said, "It's a sparkle sea hugger, my favorite." Not so much that she delivered it in a different or strange way, it was just in a great way. Like she added different intonation to each word, and she I was just like, wow, who's teaching her? How is she so freaking good so young?
I think it's also like first off a natural talent, but her father is also a famous voiceover actor, so she's surrounded by it, so I'm sure like she's picking up intuition and like hearing what he does, and I think she's just, maybe she's born with it. Maybe it's Maybelline. I don't know. But whatever the case may be, that kid is.
She's only 11.
She's the youngest one in the cast. Youngest one in the cast,
super
like hands down, obviously, and just knocks it out of the park. Again, it's why Rock Talk has always been my favorite character. I will die on this hill. Everyone, it's not a secret that I love Rock Talk, and that it's because of her delivery and the innocence, the intelligence, and the innocence and other issues that she brings to her reads. Anyway, Riley, if you're watching, which I know you're not, I love you. Clip that, send it to her privately. Past her bedtime. Oh no.
All right, well, we're gonna have to run in a couple minutes here. Any final thoughts on this episode, y'all?
We're getting close to the sorry, go ahead, Cirroc.
No, I was just gonna say Riley is a prodigy, so
yes,
fitting that's his own prodigy.
Final thoughts. I was gonna say we're getting close to the end of the season 1 arc, and there's only 3 episodes left to wrap this whole first season up.
That's like 70 minutes only.
It's the what they pack into each episode is so incredible. Like I can't even imagine what the next 3 episodes are going to bring. I mean, I can imagine because I know a little bit, but not enough to where I'm getting the full picture. And every episode now for me is just a nice little surprise and a treat. And I just like, I'm trying not to get emotional. I just love being a part of the show so much. I really do. Like, I'm just so grateful. Also, Sunday is the Emmys. Everyone watch it. We're nominated for Best Animated Series, and we already just won one. I want to make sure I get this right. We won individual something. We won Outstanding Individual Achievement for Production Design, and it was awarded to Alessandro Tiani. I hope I said that right, but he's one of the people. He's one of the art directors. He's the art director of Star Trek Prodigy, and he won an Emmy for.
Wow!
So we won our first Emmy for children Emmys, the family
and
children.
Very well deserved, by the way.
And the actual
hoping for more.
Yep, and the actual like Emmy award ceremonies on Sunday. So we're nominated for Best Animated Series, and I am crossing my fingers and toes that it gets a win, because honestly, the show deserves it. And I hope Paramount Plus and Nickelodeon also sees that it deserves to be picked up for season 3.
Season 33.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
My final thought is that the Diviner is turning out to be one of the great villains in Star Trek.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to say that, if things continue to go on the trajectory that it's gone for this first season, the Diviner is going to give, Khan, Dukat, and all of the great villains in Star Trek, he's going to be up there with them, because there is a kind of wickedness to the way he is that really resonates on screen.
And the best kind of villains are the ones who think that their cause is righteous.
Just.
And he has no unjust. It is what better cause than to save your own people.
Yeah.
So those are the best villains who think they're in the right.
You heard that here, everybody. Cirroc says Khan is divine, but this dude's diviner.
Brian.
He would never say that. That's not funny.
I think
we ended about a minute too late. All right, everybody. Let's give a very special thanks to our friends Homer Frizzell, Dr. Marie Segal, Eve England out in Wales, Yvette Blackmon-Tom, Carmen, a.k.a. Skillet, Timothy Baum, TJ Jackson-Bey, Bill Victor Arucan, Titus Mohler, Darlena Marie, John Mann, Dr. Mohamed Noor, Tierney C. Dieckmann, Anna Post, Rex A. Wood, Anil O. Polat, Erika Stroem, Joe Balsarotti, Mike Gu, DQ, Neal Akasaka, Justine Norton-Kertson, Dr. Stephanie Baker, Carrie Schwent, Faith Howell, Edward Foltz, Radek Orszewski out in southwest Poland. It's pretty chilly there right now, I bet. Henry Unger, live from Tokyo, Matt Boardman, Chris McGee, and Dr. Susan V. Gruner.
This is my awesome people dance.
I loved it.
Thanks.
Loved it. All right.
Murph gets all his best moves from me.
Poor guy.
Ghost in the Machine.
Mm-hmm.
What a great title.
And I love these backgrounds, by the way. They put all these up. They just, before the second half of season 2, they put up these 10 really cool little artist renderings of each episode, and I'm really loving them. Great color. Love it. All right, we got to run. But thank you all for joining us. Everybody at home, let us know in the comments your thoughts on this episode, and especially, more importantly, put out some good vibes to the Emmys for Prodigy to win.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
This is exciting.
Watch it and tweet about it, and let's show Nickelodeon and
Fingers
Paramount
crossed
Plus that Prodigy is a show that is loved by all and that deserves every little bit of love you can.
It deserves it. It deserves
Absolutely.
it. So
Absolutely.
they put in the work.
All right, everybody. Thanks very much. We will see you next time. And until then, always remember the 7th rule. And tell Aaron Waltke thank you for hooking us up with all that great information.
Yeah.
Absolutely.